Beha'alotcha. The parasha begins with God speaking to Moses to instruct Aaron or Aaron, the Kohen, how to light the menorah in a very specific manner. The same menorah becomes then, about 1,000 years after Aaron, the symbol of the Jewish people. The tribe of Levi is then to be consecrated as the ones who will assist Aharon and the Kohanim in their holy work with the tabernacle, in and around the tabernacle, eventually at the temple of Yerushalayim. They do the work of the Lord. We then continue with the commandment of the Pesach offering, the Passover offering. Yetziat Mitzrayim, the going out of Egypt, is so essential a pillar of Jewish thought and observance that in case someone is ill or whatever, in the month of Nisan, when it is originally to be done, on the 14th, they wait a month later, and there's a Pesach Sheni. It's not called that, but we do call it, even to this day, and we still observe it, that you do the Passover observance on the 14th of Iyar, the following month. We then read about this mysterious cloud that hangs over the Mishkan, and when the cloud is hanging over the tabernacle, everybody's camped. In fact, they're camped in a very prescribed manner because each tribe was basically a military troop as well for protection. So they're put in a box-like manner around the Mishkan, equidistant, and then when the trumpets, the silver trumpets, blow short blasts, they gather up the tabernacle, they gather up their tents, and they move and follow the cloud. When long blasts are blown because the cloud has stopped, everyone encamps exactly in the same manner around the Mishkan. Now, this cloud during the day and glowing like fire at night, hanging over the Mishkan, then sometimes moving, I have my own ideas, but believe me, you don't want to hear them. So, what's next? As is so often portrayed, throughout the Chumash, by the way, we then have a few bits of family dirty laundry. Chovav, the son of Reuel, is coerced by his brother-in-law Moshe to accompany the people of Israel on their trip into the land that God has promised. Now, Chovav wants to go home to Midian. What does he have to do with us? Except that his sister married Moses. But he knows the land well and can guide Moshe and the people through the wilderness in relative safety. As enticement for him to stay, Moses promises Chovav an equal share of whatever God grants the people Israel. They begin to move, and Moses then declares the famous words that we sing every Shabbat and festivals as we open the ark to take out the Torah. Vehi binso Aharon, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai. We know this song, right? And it says, O Lord, may your enemies be dispersed, etc., and basically may we be safe in our trip. Finally, the people do what they do so very, very well. They complain bitterly. About what? It's not even listed in the Torah. It just says they complained. It's so common. So, was it the forced march? Was it because they didn't have enough water? Well, whatever it was, God became incensed and sent a fire all around the outskirts of the camp. Many people died. Now this, I don't understand. And it happens a few times in the Bible, right? We know that. Why has God accorded human traits? Anger, having a temper, having impatience. These are human traits. What does that have to do with God? God is perfect. God is omnipotent. God's above all this, right? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm sure rabbis have written dozens of books about it. I haven't read them. Now, when the rabble complains about not having meat and how it was much better in Egypt where we had our leeks and our cucumbers and our fish and all these things, oh, wonderful, it was so great in Egypt under, slavery. Moses just loses his cool and he goes to God and says, just kill me. How can I put up with this whining, ungrateful throng? God instructs Moses, in, thank God, a very mature way, to assemble a group of 70 elders who are then infused with the Spirit of the Lord and take over much of the governance of the masses. When Eldad and Medad, two younger men, start prophesying in the camp, Moshe shows that he has learned the lesson of delegating authority. His words are, would that all Lord's people were prophets. If all the Lord's people were prophets, take the problems off my hands. Finally, we have the story of Miriam and Aaron, the sister and brother of Moses, finding a pretext to try and gain a more equal share of Moses' leadership and power. Remember, power does corrupt. First, they exclaimed that he married a Cushite woman. He married a Cushite woman. In those days, anyway, this is just gossip to lower his stature in the eyes of others. Then they ask, has the Lord only spoken to Moses? Has he not spoken to us as well? Well, God hears this stuff, not the too busy and humble Moses, but God hears it and punishes Miriam almost immediately with leprosy. Her whole body is covered white, scaly. This is only averted because Moses, in his humility and in his love for his sister, prays for her in the shortest prayer in the Torah, Elna refana la. Please God, heal her, please. With this last bit of familial treachery and then forgiveness, our parsha ends. Shabbat Shalom.